Hello, baseball fans. King Ikibu coming to you live from the underground bunker deep beneath Tuktoyaktuk, where no one would think to look, except for my upstairs neighbors. And that's probably the main reason why I haven't done a video in a year and a half, because I had upstairs neighbors. I think they had a little baby too, and every time I made any noise, they banged and swore at me. So it's difficult being the king. But they've moved out, I think. I don't think anybody's up there now. And so it's perfect time to do a video because we are in the 1985 American League Championship Game 7 between the California Angels and the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, King Ikibu has just finished his 6th season of National Pastime 3 1980s project, best and the worst of the 80s. He has completed, I don't know how many games it is now. It's about 2,100 games a year. So that would be, well over 10,000. 10,000 videos, maybe 11,000 videos. Not videos, but games manually played using National Pastime 3. It's not the prettiest game on the earth, but it's accurate and it's fast. You can get through a game in 10 minutes. It has no autoplay. So you're not even tempted to do autoplay because you have to play it out manually, but it only takes probably 10 minutes to play a game. So that's how I can play 3 to 4 games a day and get through a season probably in a year and a half. And I started this project back in 2015, November the 11th, 2015, and I've been doing it pretty much every day. And now I've completed 6th season, the 1985 season. And so if you haven't followed on the forums, then I'll get you up to speed in what's happened here in 1985. The standings for 1985, this has been the most accurate of all the seasons so far in the project. 7 of the 8 postseason participants were the same as real life. And of course I say 8 because we play the last place team and the first place team in the postseason. The anti-postseason and the postseason. The only team that was different was the American League West California Angels repeated. They are the world champions of 1984 in the project. Probably my last video was the game 4, I think, of the World Series of 1984 when California won on a Brian Downing home run in the 9th inning. Walk-off variety. And once again, California, it had a really good race here in the American League West. It went down to the final weekend, and all 3 teams had a chance still, but California got hot. They were in 3rd place most of the season, and they got hot the last 2 weeks, and they won something like 15 out of 16 games, and they took the American League West. They said, we'll just hang in there through the season. All that matters is the last month. We'll hang in there, and then we'll put the finishing kick, and we'll try to repeat as world champions, and that's what they're doing as they pass Seattle. Seattle was actually in 2nd place. California and Seattle played the last weekend, and California swept them. Or no, the last game when it didn't matter, they lost. But otherwise, they swept Seattle, and they took 1st place. Kansas City played well. They were slumping, but they won well. They played well the last weekend and got into 2nd place. In the American League East, it went down to the final weekend between Toronto and New York, just like real life. And the Blue Jays swept the Yankees in 4 straight in the last weekend, all 4 games, to take the American League Championship, American League East Championship. In the West, we had a race down to the final weekend. Los Angeles played Cincinnati, and Los Angeles won 2 of 3, so they won the series, and just like real life. And, of course, the Cardinals. They just dominated all year. In real life, the Mets were only like 3 or 4 games behind them, but they just crushed everybody. This game loves the Cardinals. They get all the roles. And that's why they won the National League East this season. So the only team that was different was California beat the real World Series champion Kansas City. In the bottom, all 4 teams that were last place in real life were in last place in the replay. And so they all played. Cleveland played Texas and went to 7 games, and Cleveland won. So Texas went to the anti-World Series, and Pittsburgh and San Francisco, I think it was a sweep or 5 games. I think 5 games. I think San Francisco won 1 game. So it was San Francisco, Texas in the anti-World Series, and Texas just crushed them. San Francisco, the 85 San Francisco, when we get down to the end and see who's the worst team of the 80s, I think San Francisco has a pretty good shot at being that team. But now we're playing the American League Championship, and we are in Game 7. 3 games apiece, and I have the Project Game 7 history. There have been 7 Game 7s so far. This is the 8th, and Toronto has been in 3 of them. So they are veterans of Game 7, but they've lost the first 2 Game 7s. They lost in the 1981 Anti-American League Championship. They lost to Seattle. And then in 1983, they were in the American League Championship against the White Sox and lost 8-7 in Game 7. So they're hoping to get to the World Series finally. They've been the American League East champions in 83, 84, and 85, but they haven't been to the World Series, and they're hoping to rectify that tonight. The series recap. Game 1 was California 3, Toronto 2. That was who started? Mike Witt started for California, and Dave Stieb was the loser, 3-2. In Game 2, Toronto came back. The game was tied in the 6th inning, but Jays got solo homers in the 6th and 7th. One from Ernie Witt and the other from, I think, was Upshaw. I'm not sure, though. So they got the win there. Then they went to California, and Toronto won the first game in California, 8-2. And all these last 4 games are pretty much the same. They were close late, and then one of the teams just bursted open and won in a blowout. But it was close late. This one was close game in the 7th, but the Jays scored 4 runs in the inning to break it open. Then Game 4, California won 11-4. Angels were ahead 4-3 in the 7th, but scored 7 runs in the 7th and the 8th. Then Game 5, the last game in California, Toronto won 8-1. That was Dave Stieb won that game. The score was tied at 1 in the 8th, but the Jays scored 6 runs in the 8th to pull away there. And then Game 6, in Toronto, California won 7-2. The score was tied 2-2 in the 6th, but the Angels score in each of the final 4 innings to make it a blowout 7-2. So the stats going into Game 7, the big hitters for California have been the top 3 in the lineup: Pettis, Carew, and Downing. It seems like the top 2 have been on base, and Downing has knocked them in with his .435 hitting. Is a homer and 8 RBIs. Rod Carew is showing amazing power. He has a triple and 2 homers in this series. When he had 2 homers all of the replay and all of real life, he only had 2 home runs in 1985. This is his final season. If the California Angels lose tonight, this is Rod Carew's final game. So he wants to keep it going, go to the World Series. And the pitching, they've had very good starting pitching. Just a couple of relievers have been shelled. John Candelaria has a 13.5 earned run average in the series. Jim Slayton and Luis Sanchez are the other ones that did very poorly. The other relievers have pitched pretty well. For the Jays, and that's what I know here, the difference in this series is that the big stars for California are their number 1, 2, and 3 hitters. While the Jays, they've had 3 big hitters too. Tony Fernandez, who led off, Barfield, who's batting cleanup, and Ernie Witt, who's batting 8th. So theirs are more spread out. And if you know anything about baseball, you want to have back-to-back-to-back hits. You don't want to have just the first batter and the 4th batter and the 8th batter hitting for you. The pitching has been pretty well. The starters have been pretty well. They've had very poor outings from Jim Acker, from Bill Cottle, and from Dennis Lamp. They've been the 3 worst pitchers by far. So we're going into the final game, Game 7. Kirk McCaskill is on the mound. In the first game, Game 3, he lost the game, but he pitched well. He has a 1.80 ERA. In the replay in 1985 was 14-11, 437. And he's going to face Jimmy Key. Jimmy Key was the star of Game 3. He gave up a home run to Rod Carew, the second batter. Pettis got on, Carew homered, 2 runs, and that was all that Jimmy Key gave up for the rest of the game. He gave up only one more hit after the second batter and got the win in game number 3. And he's pitching here today. He was 19-8, 3.76 in the replay, and he is 1-0, 225 in this series. And here we go. Game number 7. For all the marbles, can the Blue Jays finally get to the World Series? Jimmy Key is on the mound leading off. Well, here's the lineup for California. Gary Pettis, center field leading off, batting second. The first baseman, Rod Carew, could be his final game. Batting third, the star of the series, Brian Downing. He won 1984 World Series with a home run, walk-off home run in Game 4, and he has been the best hitter for California here in 1985. He's batting third. He's playing left field. Batting fourth, Reggie Jackson, the DH. Batting fifth, Rupert Jones in right field. Batting sixth, Doug DeCinces at third base. Batting seventh, who's had a pretty good series, Bobby Grich at second base. Batting eighth, Bob Boone, the catcher. Batting ninth, Dick Schofield at shortstop. And on the mound, Kirk McCaskill. For the Toronto Blue Jays, leading off, Tony Fernandez. Batting second, the second baseman, Damaso Garcia. Batting third, the third baseman, Rance Mulliniks. Batting fourth, the right fielder, Jesse Barfield. Batting fifth, the left fielder, George Bell. Batting sixth, who's having a horrible series in center field, Lloyd Mosby. Batting seventh, the first baseman, Willie Upshaw. Batting eighth, Ernie Witt, the catcher. Batting ninth, Heathcliff Slocum. Not Heathcliff Slocum. Heathcliff Johnson, the DH. And batting ninth, Jimmy Key. Yes, I'm shaky. I'm out of practice doing these videos, as you can tell. So let's get this game underway. Jimmy Key on the mound. He's going to face Gary Pettis, who's batting 346 in the series. 370 on base, 385 slugging. And let's see, how many runs has he scored? He scored 6 runs. Carew has scored 7. So of the 26 runs that the Angels have in this series, Carew and Pettis have scored half of them. They have been on base constantly, it seems like. So here's the pitch, and it's a fly out, and we got this Game 7 underway. Here's Carew. He's only batting 227, but he has a triple, 2 homers, and he has been on base. How many times has he been on base? He has how many walks? He has 5 walks. He has a 370 on-base percentage. He has 7 runs scored. He has 5 hits and that triple and the homer, as I have talked about a few times. Here's Carew, and he's on base with a walk. Another walk. So here's Downing. He's batting 435 in the series with a homer and 8 RBIs. He's been on base half the time, and he has a 696 slugging percentage. And he hits into a fielder's choice. Downing cannot steal. Here's Reggie. He's batting 304, but he has no power so far, and he strikes out. Here are the Blue Jays. McCaskill is on the mound, 0-1, 180. He's pitched well. He's been tagged with that loss. That was a hard luck loss. Here's Tony Fernandez batting 379 with a 400 on-base percentage. And he scored 4 runs. They balanced out their runs much better, except for Mosby. Like I said, he's having a horrible series, batting 087, 2 for 23. So here's Fernandez. He grounds out. Damaso Garcia batting 250. And he grounds out. Rance Mulliniks batting 154. And he gets a base hit. He's going to try to steal. He doesn't get the jump. Here's Jesse Barfield, the leading hitter for the Blue Jays, batting 455 with a homer and 7 RBIs and slugging 818. And he gets a base hit. So a 2-out rally for the Blue Jays, and George Bell, he's got base hits, but he hasn't driven in many runs in this series, and he wants to rectify that right now. George Bell, McCaskill to Bell. He gets a double, 2-run score. And the Blue Jays lead the game 2-0 in the first inning. Blue Jays off to the early lead. George Bell at second with 2 out. Here's Mosby. He's batting 2 for 23, as we've talked about. 1 RBI. He wants to get that 2-out RBI right here. McCaskill is reeling. Here's the pitch to Lloyd Moseby. He walks. It's better than nothing. Here's Willie Upshaw batting .261. He has 1 RBI. So it wasn't Willie Upshaw that got that home run in that other game. Who was it? I think it was it Johnson? Let's see if it was. No, it wasn't Johnson. No, it wasn't Johnson. Who was it then? Maybe it's Bell. Was it Bell in the second game? No, this is a mystery. Guess we can look. This is game 1, this is game number, that's not game 1. Where's game 1? Game 1. This is game 4. Okay, getting warmer. Game 3. Okay, who homered in this game? Ernie Witt and Rance. Rance got about his only hit that he's gotten. Yeah, there's his 1 home run. So Rance and Ernie Witt homered in game 2. Here is Willie Upshaw. He should be better than this. What did he do in real life, Willie Upshaw? Willie Upshaw in the replay batted .298 with 11 homers and 67 RBIs, .362 on base, .458 slugging. So yes, he can do better than this. Here's the pitch to Willie Upshaw, and he pops out. So Jimmy Key has a 2-run lead. Here's Rupert Jones. He's batting .080. He's the California version of the Shaker, as he is batting .087. And he gets a single, so he's on base. He's going to try to steal, doesn't get the jump. Here's Doug DeCinces batting .083. He gets a ball. 1 ball to Doug DeCinces. And he fielder's choice. Can he steal? No, he can't. Batter on second. We'll put the brakes on DeCinces. Here's Bobby Grich. He's batting .278. .435 on base. He's played well. Here's Bobby Grich. And he pops out. Bob Boone. You can see his numbers here. He's .306, .317 in real life. But in the replay, he had an outstanding season. Played way over his head. Let's see what he had. He had .296 batting average, .332 on base, and a .404 slugging. He had 11 homers and 78 RBIs. He had an incredible season, way above what he was supposed to, and really helped the Angels get probably their MVP. Other than Reggie. Reggie had 33 homers. So here is Bob Boone with 2 out. The brakes are on DeCinces. Oops. Roll the dice. Okay, we could have an error. No, he's cut off. He's picked off. Nice move by Jimmy Key to pick off Doug DeCinces. Doug DeCinces from first base. Okay, bottom of the second. Still 2-0 Blue Jays. Here's Ernie Witt. Having a good series, batting .286 with 2 homers, 5 RBIs, down the 8th slot. And he flies out to right. Here's Heathcliff Johnson, batting .294 with an RBI. And he pops out. Tony Fernandez pops out. Everybody's popping out. Okay, back to Boone. Remember the runner was picked off when he was at bat, so he leads off the third. Still 2-0. He pops out. 3 pop-outs in a row. Dick Schofield batting .333. He pops out. 4 pop-out in a row. What is the record? I wish I had a statistician could tell me what the record for pop-outs is in the Major League history. Here's Gary Pettis. And he gets a single. He's going to try to steal. He's a great base stealer. And he gets picked up. He gets caught stealing. Ernie Witt throws him out. And that ends the 3rd inning. It's 2-0 Blue Jays. Rod Carew. .241. Rod Carew. No, it's Garcia. The thing didn't change. Okay, Garcia batting .241. Yeah, I thought, what are they talking about? Carew has 2 homers in the series. Here's Damaso Garcia to lead off the 3rd. And he flies out. Rance. Fouls out. Jesse. Grounds out. 1, 2, 3. Go the Jays. After 3 complete. 2-0 Blue Jays. Here's Rod Carew. Now he's up with his 2 homers and 6 RBIs. First time up he walked. And he walks again. He's going to try to steal. No. Brian Downing. Struck him out. Reggie. Could be an error. No error. Fly out. Runner holds. Crew's still on. Here's Rupert Jones. He singled last time up. And he strikes out this time. After 3.5, the score is Toronto 2, California 0. McCaskill to pitching to George Bell. Bell doubled 2 runs in last time. He's the man who is accounting for all of the J runs. Here's the pitch to George. Gets a base hit. Will he try to steal? Why not? Almost gets thrown out. Mosby, he walked. We said that was better than nothing. And he gets hit this time. That's better than nothing. It's smarts, but he's on base. 2 men on for Upshaw. He grounded out to the third baseman, DeCinces, last time up. He's not going to bunt. Here's the pitch to Willie Upshaw. He walks. Bases loaded for Ernie Whitt. Ernie Whitt, it's time for a homer. Here's the pitch to Ernie. Sacrifice fly. So it's 3-0 Toronto. Mosby's at second. Upshaw's at first. And there's only one out. Here's Heathcliff Johnson. He gets a single. It's 4-0 Jays. Can they get to the World Series? Let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. But McCaskill is now down to a D. He has to go 5 innings. I've been playing that way for 8 years. You have to go 5 innings. So here we go. 2 men on for Tony Fernandez. He's reeling. It's 4-0. Could be an error. Possible error, no error. He flies out. Here's Damaso Garcia with 2 out. You can have a chance to knock him out of this game. But he flies out. The California's still in it. They're only down by 4. Jimmy Key to face Doug DeCinces. Pop out. Gritch. Strikeout. Boone. Ground out. 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Key's pitching well again. Down to the bottom. This is McCaskill's last inning. Here's Rance. He is singled and scored and grounded out. And he gets on again with a base hit. He's going to try to steal. He does not get the jump. Here's Jesse. He singled and scored and grounded to second base. And could be an error. Could be an error. It's not an error. Fouled out. Here's George. George is 2 for 2. Double and a single. And what is this? He grounds out, but Molyneux advances to second. Here's Mosby. He's been on twice with a walk and a hit by pitch and scored a run. And he walked again. He's having his best game of the series just by walking and getting hit. Here's Willie Upshaw. 2 men on, 2 men out. Can he do something? He walked last time. And he grounds out at the end of the inning. That's it for McCaskill. And as we said here, the way I play it is so with the relievers, every reliever has to appear before a reliever can come in for the second time. So as I said here, as you can see here, Moore, Slayton, Moore doesn't count because he's the closer, but the other guys, Slayton, Sanchez, Candelaria, and Clyburn have all been in twice. That means Holland and Lugo have to be the first relievers off the bench. While the Blue Jays, not counting Tom Henke's the closer, but everybody's pitched twice, so anybody can come in next. Of course, until Key gives up a run, he has to stay in the ball game. So Schofield is up. Now we can pinch hit for Schofield. He's playing well. I mean, let's see who they can bring in. Juan Benique. His replacement is Robbie Wilfong at short. No, he doesn't play short. So they don't have really a replacement. So he'll stay in. He'll have to stay in. He provides very good defense anyway. So here's Jimmy Key to Dick Schofield. Schofield has popped out last time up. And he strikes out this time. Gary Pettis. He is 1 for 3. He got caught when he tried to steal. Ernie Whitt threw him out. So here's Pettis now, and he flies out. Boy, Jimmy Key's pitching well. Here's Rod Carew. He's walked twice. And he grounded out this time. Through 5.5. Toronto 4. California nothing. McCaskill is done. We'll bring in who? Lugo. Lugo's coming into the game. Urbano Lugo. In replay, let's see how he did, Urbano Lugo. In the replay, I'm trying to find him. Lugo was 7-2 with a 5.19 ERA. So he got a lot of wins, but he gave up a lot of runs, 5.19 ERA. He has to pitch an inning. Here's Whitt. And he 1 ball to Ernie Whitt. Ernie Whitt has hit a sacrifice fly and is flied out. So 2 fly balls, 1 resulting in a run scored. And what is this? It's a ground out. So Lugo runs over and makes the play, assisting the first baseman, Carew. Here's Johnson. Johnson, he has 409 on base. He is singled and drove in a run and is popped out. Johnson, he walks. Now, one thing, the Blue Jays have all slow runners. They've got Jeff Burrows, he's slow. Cecil Fielder, he's slow. Garth Orge, he's slow. Al Oliver, he's slow. Buck Martinez is not slow, he's average. But I don't think we're going to use Buck Martinez as a pinch runner here. So we'll leave Johnson in. Here's Tony. He is 0 for 3. Fly out. So we'll put the brakes on Johnson with 2 out. Make sure he doesn't get thrown out at third base. Here's Garcia. He's 0 for 3. And he flies out. All right, so Lugo does his job. So we're going to bring in Al Holland in the next inning. Jimmy Key has to stay in the game. He hasn't given up a run yet. He's only given up 2 hits. Those 2 hits were to Gary Pettis, and then he got thrown out, and then Rupert Jones. The only 2 Angels to get base hits off Jimmy Key. Jimmy Key, if he keeps this up, he will be the series ALCS MVP. There's no doubt about it. But he's got to get through the next 3 innings. Here's Downing, the number 1 nemesis of the Blue Jays in this series. He is 0 for 3, surprisingly. And he gets a single. There's no way they can hold him down. The 3rd single off Jimmy Key. Here's Reggie, 0 for 2. And he strikes out. Rupert Jones struck out and singled. What is this? It is a wild pitch. Downey's in scoring position. Rupert Jones batting 120. Do you want to take out Rupert Jones? He hasn't played well. We're going to put in Juan Beniquez. He's going to come in to pinch hit for Rupert Jones, who has struggled. Beniquez, his 2nd plate appearance of the series. And he flies out. Doug DeCinces. He grounds out. Jimmy Key have them tied in knots. Okay, they're going to bring in Al Holland now. He is a very good pitcher. They got him for Pittsburgh halfway through the season. For California in 1985 replay, Mr. Al Holland has been 2-0, 386 in about half a season. In the ALCS, he's 0-0 with 5.40 ERA. Here's Rance. Rance 2 for 3, having his best game of the series. He flied out. Jesse is 1 for 3. He hits a home run. Jesse Barfield makes it 5-0. His 2nd homer of the series. The champagne is on ice in Exhibition Stadium locker room. The clubhouse of the Jays. They're getting out the champagne. Might be too early. It's only the 7th inning. George Bell, he is 2 for 3. Strikes out. Lloyd Mosby, he's been on base 3 times. 2 walks and a hit by pitch. And he finally makes an out. Ground out to Rod Carew unassisted. So that's the end of 7 innings. The score after 7. The Toronto Blue Jays 5. The California Angels nothing. Jimmy Key is dominant. Bobby Grich is up. He gets on. He walks. Good start. And now Jimmy Key is tired. And like I said, he cannot be relieved until he gives up a run. He is now tired. Bob Boone. He's not done anything in the series. We got Scotty Ayers, Jerry Narron, Jack Howell, and Robbie Wilfong. Narron, he can hit. He's more power. They need some power. So they're going to bring in Jerry Narron. His first appearance in the series. Trying to get a home run. If he gets a 6-6, it's an automatic homer. He gets a strikeout. Dick Schofield, we already talked about him. He can't come out. There's nobody to replace him. And he flies out. Gary Pettis. Boy, Jimmy Key has him tied him knots through 8 innings. Or 7.5. Angels still are scoreless. Blue Jays at 5. Here's Holland. He's still good to go. Willie Upshaw. Fly out. Ernie Witt. Strikeout. Holland's now down to a C. Cliff Johnson will bring in Cecil Fielder. He's going to go to Japan soon, so we want to give him some at-bats. He had an incredible 1985 and only 81 plate appearances, but look at that slugging percentage. But in the replay, I couldn't get a homer out of the man. What do you have in real life homers? I'm going to look him up here in real life. Cecil Fielder had 4 homers and 74 at-bats. But in the replay, he did nothing for me. That's pitching. There's the hitting. Okay, he batted 260. The average was all right, but he had no homers and 4 RBIs. So I'm just trying to get him to hit a homer sometime for the Blue Jays. Here's the pitch from Al Holland. Nothing happened. Try again. I got to hit the button right here. He gets a base hit. He's slow runner. We're going to put the brakes on Cecil. He's a big man. It takes some time to get going. Here's Tony. Tony is 0 for 4, having his worst game of the series. Although defensively he's playing very well. He hasn't made an error yet. He has 3 putouts and 2 assists. So he's been active in the field, just hasn't done anything with the bat. And fielder's choice. So after 8 complete, the score, Toronto 5, California nothing. We cannot bring in a reliever. Jimmy Key has to stay out there. This could be the last at-bat in history for Rod Carew. He has walked twice and grounded to second. And he gets another roll. Just a ball. 1 ball. No strikes to Rod Carew. And he grounds out to second baseman again. Brian Downing. This could be an error. No, he gets a ground out. They're down to their last at-bat. And that last at-bat is Reggie Jackson. Jackson is 0 for 3. He struck out twice and flied to left. Here it is, the last pitch. He gets a double 3. This could be the end of the shutout. 65. No, that is just a single. So the 4th hit allowed by Jimmy Key. We're going to put our brakes on Reggie. Here's Juan Benitez. In the replay, he played very well. That's why I brought him in for California. He had an excellent season. California, Benitez, he batted .327 with 10 homers and 68 RBIs. Here, he's going to keep the season going for California. Will he be able to do that? He gets a base hit. The season is still going. They're putting on the brakes. They need 5 runs. No reason to take chances. Here's DeCinces. DeCinces was picked off. He's 0 for 4. He reached on a fielder's choice. No, he's 0 for 3. His 4th at bat. Jimmy Key is just hanging in there. His arm is like a noodle out there. To pitch to Doug DeCinces. DeCinces is only batting .074. Should we bat someone for DeCinces? Jack Howell, he's not nearly the hitter. Got to give the best. He has the best chance of doing something here, even though he struggled all series long. In real life, DeCinces had 22 homers, 83 RBIs, and batted .262. Here in the ALCS, he has no homers, no RBIs. Been a huge disappointment for California. But if he homers here, he gets them back in the game. Here's the pitch to Doug DeCinces. And it's a ground out. And the Toronto Blue Jays, first time in their history, 3 ALCSs in a row. And they finally get to the World Series by winning Game 7. Jimmy Key, the superstar, pitches a shutout, a 5-hit shutout. He walked 3 and struck out 7 as Jimmy Key gets the win and the Blue Jays get to the World Series. The AL MVP, ALCS MVP will no doubt be Jimmy Key. Jimmy Key already won a game. He gave up only 2 runs in that game in 8 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, and then he pitches a shutout in Game 7. That alone will get a man to be ALCS MVP. But I'd put those 2 games together. He is a no doubt ALCS MVP for the Blue Jays. And they will face the next series, the winner between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Dodgers, just like real life. In real life, if I remember correctly, the Dodgers won the first 2 games in Los Angeles. And then they went back to St. Louis, and St. Louis won all 3 in St. Louis, including that homer in game number 5 by Ozzie Smith. And then they went back to Los Angeles, and the Cardinals won Game 6 and the series. Let's hope that the Dodgers are more competitive in this ALCS and at least take it to Game 7. Put up a fight against the mighty Cardinals who won 105 ball games in real life. They were amazing. Let's bring up Willie McGee, who was the MVP of the National League. Here are the numbers of Willie McGee. In real life, I'm going to read what he did in real life. Willie McGee. Where are you, McGee? Willie McGee. I'm trying to find him. Here. There he is. In real life, Willie McGee, he was the MVP in real life. He batted .353 with a .384 on base and a .503 slugging. He had 10 homers and 82 RBIs. Now look at that. Remember, 10 homers, 82 RBIs, batted .353. In the replay, this man, Willie McGee, batted .390 with a .415 on base and a .591 slugging. He had .503 slugging in real life. He had 10 homers. In the replay, he had 19 homers. And he had 82 RBIs in real life. He had 130. He led the National League in RBIs with 130. He scored 125 runs. He scored 114 in real life. He had 216 hits to lead the National League in real life. He had 249 hits. In real life, the Cardinals batted .264. In the replay, they batted .275. .335 on base, .340 on base in the replay, and .379, .395. They scored 772 runs to lead in the National League, and they also had pitching galore, where they had ERA under 3. I mean, the game loves the Cardinals. They are incredibly heavy favorites in the NLCS. Another thing I want to show you, while we're at it, we want to show you Don Mattingly. This was the greatest year for Don Mattingly in real life. He had an outstanding season. He was the MVP of the American League with incredible numbers. In real life, I'm going to find him. In real life, Don Mattingly batted, where are you, Yankees? There's the Yankees. There's the roster. Mattingly batted .324. He had 35 homers and 145 RBIs. Very good season. MVP season. In the replay, he batted .375, which was 51 points higher than his real life. He had .408 on base versus .371. And he had a .621 slugging versus .567. In real life, he had 35 homers. In the replay, he had 38. That was pretty close. 145 RBIs in real life. He had 176 RBIs in real life. Ricky Henderson was on base the entire season. He scored 146 runs, which he did in real life. That matched his real life total. But Mattingly drove in 176 runs, which at this point in history, 1985, would have been the best total since the 30s. So, and even now today, if you look at the stats, even during the steroid era, nobody had 176 RBIs in real life. So Mattingly had an incredible season, but he's not in the World Series because the Toronto Blue Jays are in the World Series. They won 101 ball games in the replay, and they make their first World Series. It should be exciting, and they'll probably face the Cardinals, and we'll probably see some more games since I'm getting back in the swing of things. Signing off, this is King Ichabod with Tiny Archibald coming from the bunker. Have a good night, everybody.